Hey everyone, my name is Hunter Irby. I am the program director of the Iota Chapter of Gamma Xi Phi. I want to welcome all of you to our first service project event today. I'm here to introduce y'all to both my chapter and all of my brothers and sisters here today. And I want to say, first of all, say thank you for everyone being here. And I hope that y'all have a wonderful time. Well, we're here to start our quarterly event, Finding Your Muse. It is a Renaissance conversation where we talk about how we as artists find what we are both passionate in and what we strongly believe in terms of getting ourselves started in our careers and everything that we are that embody us as people. And especially with the beginning of this whole COVID pandemic all across the world is put several artists in a time of worry, a time of struggle, and a time of trying to figure out what we are trying to do. And for that, we started this event to say, hey, here we go. We're going to try and really hunker down and see what we're about. And for this starting event, we are starting with my line brother, Milton, and he will describe how he got to where he is in his career, and he's going to play a couple of songs on his main instrument, the piano. And I want to both say thank you. And Milton, are you ready? You might still be getting ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. Well, hello everyone. I am Brother Milton Williams, and I'm in the Iota Chapter. And I want to, first I want to say, this is, well, preparing for this has been one of my challenging things I've done in my career as a performer and as a teacher. Partly because I haven't performed in quite a long time, but I enjoyed working up working up this particular skill so that I can keep it fresh. And I want to thank my chapter members because they kind of pushed me to do this. It wasn't originally my idea to do me performing, but I'm glad I did because it's given me a chance to do what I like doing. But anyhow, the reason we're doing this is because I kind of threw out the idea when we were in one of our chapter meetings. I know this has nothing to do with performing, of some things that we could do as service projects. And I kind of just said, well, why don't we have a roundtable discussion or something where we talk to different artists or have different artists come in and talk about how they have persevered through the pandemic. I'm sorry, I'm at my classroom right now. And we were going along with the idea, and then it kind of turned into, hey, well, why don't you give a concert? So I said, okay. Again, it wasn't really my idea to do a concert, but I'm glad that I am doing it because I am performing. And I guess how I got to where I am in my career, I have been, well, I'll say this, I've always wanted to be a teacher. And a lot of people that I've told that to, they say, well, no, that can't be true. You probably switched from this career to that career. But in all honesty, I've always wanted to be a teacher. When I started kindergarten at St. Cecilia Grade School in Detroit, as soon as I walked in the classroom, I said, oh, wow, I like this. This is where I want to be. And honestly, that has been the same since. I've always wanted to teach from that moment on. And I've just been fascinated with being, I don't know if when I was younger, it was just being in the school building and how the building smelled. And I know it sounds kind of weird, but schools have a certain smell. At least the school I went to, it had a smell. It wasn't a bad smell. It wasn't a pleasant smell or anything like that. It was just a unique smell. And every time I would smell it wherever I was, it reminded me of school. So I've always wanted to be in a school doing something, teaching, I can say that I have bounced from within teaching from subject to subject, grade level to grade level. When I was in first grade, I thought I wanted to teach first grade. When I was in third grade, I wanted to teach third grade. When I got junior high, I wanted to teach junior high school. But it wasn't until I got to high school and yeah, it could have been the smell of old books. I don't know. Whatever it was a unique smell. It wasn't a bad smell. It was just a smell. And it just made me feel comfortable and I wanted to be in the school building. And I got to high school in 10th grade, and that summer before, I had went to a music camp because I was actually singing in the choir at my church, and I had just started singing in the choir at church. So I auditioned for the camp, and they said, okay, well, yeah, you can be in this choir here. So I got to the camp, and it was about 2 weeks long, and I just fell in love with music. I mean, learning music, participating in it, and I said, oh my gosh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And I started that halfway through my 10th grade year, around January, I started taking piano. And I just progressed. I loved it. I pushed myself. And I think that's what drives me, is that I can self-motivate myself. I don't have to do something because other people are doing it or follow along. I can completely motivate myself to do something. And that's what I did. I started learning as much as I could. I would take home the theory books from class and just work ahead. And even if I didn't know the stuff, I would look at it and try to learn it. And even to this day, I still remember how it feels learning those things, and the types of emotions that were attached to learning them. I mean, I can vividly imagine how it feels, reimagine how that all felt. And in those 2 little years, 10th, 11th, and then by 12th grade, I was way ahead of a lot of my peers musically, who had been studying all their lives. I just progressed very quickly. I started out as just a person learning how to play piano to a person by 12th grade accompanying the choir and playing some relatively difficult music. But that's just because I was motivating myself to do it. And that kind of pushed me into where I am today. I've been teaching for 15 years. This is going into my 16th year. And I have always I've always enjoyed working with singers and working with piano students and playing piano. All through college, that's what I did. I mean, I was in ensembles, I was accompanying the choir, I was taking voice lessons, doing all those things. And I try to bring those things to my students as well. And one of the things that I really enjoy about what I do is that I can share things that my students would not normally encounter, because that's what happened to me. When I was learning things, especially in college, I had never heard of some classical composers or certain operas and all these types of things. But once I started to hear them and learn about them, they became interesting to me. And I started to grow more passionate about learning those types of things. And I've seen that in some of my students where I've introduced things to them. They may just say, hey, why are we doing this? Can we just sing? And some days I feel like that, yeah, let's just sing. let's just sing. Let's not worry about the other parts. But then on the other end of it, I've had a lot of students that have come to me and they've said, you know, when we were doing this, I really didn't like it, but I can see why you had us doing this. And I can tell you one student I had, he wasn't actually in my class, but I taught theory and he was in one of my theory classes, not one of my vocal students. And he came back to me one day. He came into the school to visit, and he was just sitting talking to me. And he said, remember when you had us doing all those rhythmic dictations in theory and how we hated doing that? And I remember them because I enjoyed it. I didn't hate it at all. But that's the difference between me and them. And he said, you know, that was really helpful because now I'm working with a a composer or whoever it was, and he's asking me to dictate this stuff that he's doing. And the only reason I could do it is because you showed me how to do it. So after that moment, I started saying, well, I'm not going to take for granted what I'm teaching these students, because it's something that they could use any other place, or they may not know when they'll use it, but they may be able to use it some way, someday. And then the other part of this is the pandemic. How are we as artists and performers and whatever our craft is, how are we progressing and still being active as musicians or dancers or artists or whatever throughout a time where there is little availability of performances or ways that you can showcase what you're doing? And all last year, when this first hit and we just had to leave school and go virtual, it was a real learning curve for me. And I'm pretty sure a lot of educators felt the same way, having to now go from face-to-face to just being virtual and trying to teach virtually, especially something like music, where there are not a lot of music programs that you can purchase, that you can use that are, for one, that are free and have all kind of skills and activities and things in them that you can use with students, and then learning how to use that yourself and then showing it to your students. It was a huge learning curve, but I think I know the way that I kind of got around this is that I started just teaching myself how to, not that I didn't know how, but kind of teaching myself again how to work with videos and record things and convert files and do all those types of things so that you can share it with students. And it is a very difficult task. It's very time consuming, and a lot of people don't realize that. But that's one of the ways that I started to kind of cope with it. Another thing that I had a problem with was just not performing. And for me, that's all I do pretty much with my students is perform. We are, I don't know how to say it without sounding arrogant, but we're like a very high demand choir. We're asked to perform at all types of events, not that other school choirs don't, but we in particular are always asked to do things. I mean, we perform for governors, we perform with major recording artists, all these types of things, and we do this stuff consistently. So to have me and my students go from doing stuff all the time to nothing at all, it was a real mood killer. I know a lot of my students felt like just heartbroken, and it was nothing that we can control. So what I started doing this year actually was I said, well, I'm giving my students these opportunities to record themselves so that I can make videos and that type of thing, and share their performances with their classmates and their families, so they still at least feel like they're performing. But what about me? What am I doing? Because I'm an artist as well, and I really like performing. I enjoy it. Even though I am a little shy, I do like performing, and that's one way I can kind of get over that. So what I started doing was I just started recording myself playing piano, and I would do little short clips at first. Then I started doing longer recordings, and eventually just doing full recordings of songs. Excuse me, not songs, pieces that I've learned. And I was doing it in two different ways. I was recording pieces that I've taught to students before, or pieces that I just like to hear that could be taught to a student or could be learned by anyone. And then pieces that I have worked on either in high school or in college or whatever the case may be, outside of school, outside of all of that. And I started doing that, and I was just calling it masterclass because that's what we would do each week. And almost in college, we would have like a masterclass every Thursday, a vocal masterclass, a piano masterclass, and it got boring and tiresome. But I said, let me do that myself. So that's why I kind of got through the pandemic and keeping myself performing, because it did give me an opportunity to not just let my piano sit at home and not be used, but to actually practice and actually perform and record, even though I'm not trying to be a major recording or performing artist or whatever, it's something that helps me get through all the things that are going on. A lot of the pieces, and I may not play everything that I have on here because I timed it, and it's like almost, I just want to make sure I have enough music. It's about between 45 and 50 minutes worth of stuff. I mean, I play all of it, but for everything that I have found that I was going to play today, and it was kind of hard putting things together because there are so many pieces you can pull from or choose, or this one will work, or what about this one, or I don't know if this one will, it's that type of thing. But I just chose pieces that for one, I try to represent different styles of music, different things that I do normally. Some of them are pieces that all of them are pieces that I played before. Some of them are pieces I played for specific reasons. It may have been a recital in college, or it could have been, like one of the pieces is one that I did with one of my piano teachers that I had in high school. And we did it as a duet, but there's also a solo version that I'm going to play. But it was a fun piece that we did together, and it was kind of like a full circle thing. I've learned piano from her, and now we're playing together on stage. So that's the type of thing is what I was going for. And then a few of them are just pieces I thought would be interesting to include. So, I mean, I'm not going to belabor it by just talking, but I guess I'll just start playing some of them. And I have a reason for every piece in here, and I'll try to give like a little short intro for each one as I do them, so you kind of know why I included it or what my reason was. So let me get to the piano. Oh.
I, for one, am really excited for this.
Yes.
Okay, so again, I haven't performed in so long, so if some things might be not rusty, but you know, like a few little bumps and bruises there along the way, but that's just part of the process. And it wouldn't be an artistic performance if there were no mistakes. Even I tell my students that if you think your performance was just perfect and amazing and you didn't have anything you can improve on, then you really didn't do a good job, because there's always something you can improve, you can do better each time. This first one, okay, it's called Prologue. And I wanted to do a prologue at the beginning and an epilogue at the end, but I may leave off the epilogue because it's kind of similar to the prologue. But anyhow, this prologue is, it was a piece that I encountered in high school. And I never played it in high school. I mean, I played it, but I didn't perform it for anyone. And it was one that I found, and it's interesting because the whole set of pieces, there are about 7 or 8 pieces in the whole set. It was written by a composer after his son died, and his son died it was just a unexpected death. He died in his sleep one night, and the guy, he had all these emotions, and he took them and he turned them into, each piece of the set is something that reminds him of his son, something they may have done together, something his son may have liked. But yeah, that was the reason I chose these, because I really enjoy them. I like the pieces that he writes. And this first one was it just worked for me. It was just a working piece. But it's called Prologue. Okay, and I really like the whole set, but I couldn't play everything in the whole set. Even though there are very, very interesting pieces, I just couldn't play everyone. But again, that was one that was written by him in memory of his son. It just opens the whole set up. This second piece this one is, I chose this piece because it is one of my favorites. I played this piece in high school as a senior on my last recital. And if you can think, as I was telling you earlier, I didn't start playing the piano until 10th grade. So I was about 16 years old. So this is a piece I played when I was 18. So in 2 years, as you listen to it, you can kind of hear how much I have progressed from a beginner, just reading, learning how to play, figuring out where hands go, to a musician who could play much more challenging stuff. So as you listen to this one, that kind of, you can see how quickly I motivate myself. I force myself to learn things, to make myself better as a performer, because I really wanted to play piano. So the time here, and I'm see how much of it I remember, because this was back in 2001. So that's what, like 20 years since I played it. And I'm pretty sure I can remember all of it. But if I don't, just forgive me for wrong notes and all that. Okay, and that was it's called Rocktata. It's the first prelude by Michael Valenti. And I taught myself that one in high school. It wasn't something that my teacher taught me. I taught myself how to play that one. And it was one that, I mean, it was really, really difficult. It's even difficult now. I haven't played it in like 20 years. I mean, I practiced it, but I promise you, I played it perfectly before I got here and recorded with you all. But that's that. And again, all these pieces there's some reason why I like them. This next one, I used to teach musical theater when I first started teaching. In some kind of way, we were talking in our, when we had our leadership weekend about, some kind of way we got talking about the Wiz and the Wizard of Oz, or some kind of way we got onto it. But anyhow, it was a piece that I had already that I've been looking at, and I really liked it. So I'll just play it. You'll know what it is when you hear it. And actually, I didn't pick that because we were talking about it. I picked that one because I've heard an arrangement that I wanted to learn. Played, it was actually a violin and piano duet, and I could never find the music for it. So I really liked the song, and I just liked that arrangement. So that's why I picked that one. But we did talk about it in our leadership meeting, conference, retreat, weekend. The next two pieces are specifically ones that I liked when I was in college and I played them. The first one is actually one I played my first year in college, if I'm not mistaken, first or second year, or first or second semester. And I really liked the piece. And the second one is one that I played because I liked the composer. All through college, I played his works. Every year I played something by him. And the second one, it just happens to be one that I played by him that I really like. And I think I may have done a recording in my master classes on YouTube, not YouTube, on Instagram. I don't remember. It may be one. But these are two different composers, two pieces I played in college. And this first one is called To Spring. So as you listen to it, you kind of get the idea of springtime. And again, this is how I got myself through the pandemic, how I'm getting myself through it by performing, making myself perform and do all these things. And again, it's been some years. College was in 2001, so excuse the wrong pictures. So that's the, ooh, how much time do we have left?
It's just about 40 minutes.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, a summer night. I saw that.
We have about 2 hours left.
I'm gonna take that long. But yeah, those are pieces that I did in college. Well, two pieces that I particularly like. Not that there weren't other pieces I liked in college. There were hundreds, but I always did a Debussy. And the last one was Debussy. I don't know. I just liked his music. I always did something of his in college, no matter what year it was. Even if I didn't perform a recital, I still did some of his music because I just like how expressive it is. And then I do a lot of things. I do a lot of things at church, different organizations. So I've tried to pick something. I mean, there are lots of things I could choose from. I tried to pick something I thought would be really good, kind of pianistic in a way, but still just good. So I picked a piece that I play pretty often. It's called Glorify Thy Name. So I'm going through all of the things that I usually do, all the types of music that I play, even though these are not the only things I do. I try to expand myself as a performer, as a teacher, because then again, like I said earlier, I try to expose my students to things that they don't normally or would not normally expose themselves to. So that's what I do musically for myself. And again, I self-motivate myself. So these are not things that people have told me, hey, you should try this or do. These are things that I want to do. And another reason I do that is because I remember reading a quote by Lynn Price, and she said, particularly because I was taking voice lessons and I was reading some things, and she said, sing on things that you enjoy doing. Not things that you have to sing about. And I mean, those aren't her exact words, but it's along that lines. So if I would tell a student perform the things that you like to perform, not things that you have to perform always, because what you like is going to propel you to do other things too. And if you do what you like, you'll always be happy. And I think that was a lot, along with other things, just in different settings. It depends on where I am, because I do perform as an accompanist a lot for different people, different choirs, that type of thing. I tried to pick some pieces that I thought were kind of like jazzy pop pieces that I like, because I do that type of stuff too. And it really, honestly, it just depends on the performer, the person. But both of these songs, I think when you hear them, you'll know what they are. The first one, I found her when I was in college, and I listened to some of her music. I just happened to be at I was in New York. I was in New York learning about, at the Metropolitan Opera, learning about the opera program they have where you teach it to young students. So I was there working with other teachers from across there weren't a whole lot of teachers, but there were teachers from across the different parts of the world, different parts of the United States anyhow. And some of them were artists, some of them were actors, some of them were theater teachers, some of them were music teachers. But we all worked together to try to figure out this thing about opera and how to teach it to students. And I wrote a lot of music for that summer. I kind of became a songwriter then, because I wrote music for the entire opera that we wrote, and other things. But one of the ladies there, she was like, "Hey, why don't you listen to this singer?" And I listened to her and I said, oh, wow, I like her. She plays piano. I like Alicia Keys, too. I like her because she plays piano and sings. But yeah, when you hear them, I guess you'll know what they are. But they're kind of like poppy, jazzy type of arrangements. I like both styles. Oh.
Wow.
And that was really, really, really hard. But again, it's just stuff things that I like, things that I've done, or things that I've heard, and I said, well, I want to learn that, or I want to try that. That's common for me. I'll hear something, and then I'll say, hey, let me see if I can find it, let me see if I can figure it out, and I'll just do it. I've spent a lot of time, particularly when I started teaching, because a lot of things I didn't actually have access to. So I had to really just kind of teach myself how to figure things out. Because a lot of things that my students wanted to do, there was, I know how to read music, I know how to play by ear, but a lot of things there was no music for, and I had to sit and spend hours listening to things on YouTube or whatever and learn how to play them. So it just, those types of pieces came about because, hey, I want to learn how to play them, and I just enjoyed them. Okay, so this next one, it's a pretty big piece. It's called Rhapsody, and this is one that I played it when I started teaching, and I have my piano teacher, and one of my piano teachers in high school is one of my colleagues. We worked together. And she retired last year, but she still helps out around when we need help. And then particularly last year, one of our teachers actually passed because of COVID. So she stepped in and kind of resumed her position during that transitional period. But we played pieces together just in performance recitals, those types of things. And this is one of the pieces we play together. And actually, it is it's a piece that is written for. It can be played. Let me say it again. There are arrangements of it for duets. There's an arrangement of it for just a solo performance piece, and that's what I'm going to do. But this one I chose this because it was one that I really liked. When we played it, I really liked it, and I thought, well, hey, that piece has some movement and stuff in it. So like Chanel said with that first one I played, this one is probably vibrant, active too. So I'm gonna do my best with it. It is one that I actually like. I really do like this particular piece. It is a favorite of mine. All right. And it's called Rhapsody. And if I ever had a child, that would be my child's name, Rhapsody. If I had a girl, her name would be Rhapsody or Cadence or something like that. It'd be something musical because I like those names.
I gotta come off mute for that one. Woo! Woo!
Yeah, that was one that we did, and it is even more interesting as a duet. But I loved it because we played together, and it was one of my favorite ones that we did because we did lots of duets together. And that's something that I like to do anyway, is piano duets or like piano and organ duets. I just like duets.
That was amazing.
Really, really big piece.
That-
This one, this one is one, I think I did it when I did my masterclass recordings on Instagram. And I said I was gonna get back to doing that. I just haven't had as much time, but I am going to. This one, when I was in high school, a senior, because remember, everything I've done tonight has some type of something I've done before or some kind of meaning. This is a piece from a set of pieces that I did in high school as a senior, and we did a separate senior recital from all the other piano students. I wasn't just in piano in high school, I was in piano, I was in choir as well, so I did both of those things, but at school I did both of those things. But this is one from a set of pieces that I did in high school on the senior recital. And I think I did maybe 5 pieces out of this entire set of pieces from by this composer. And these are pieces that kind of pushed me to liking Debussy's music when I was in college and doing his music almost every year. This one, I like this one because it reminds me, I went to Paris when I was in college. And this one, I mean, as you listen to it, it kind of reminds me of like sitting in a little cafe on the corner, drinking, I don't like coffee, but I would probably just drink, I don't know, I don't like milk either, so I wouldn't drink milk or coffee, but I would probably just drink maybe some water or something and eat some croissants or something like that, but just in like a little cafe or something in Paris. It gives you that idea, or it makes you think of that. At least that's what it makes me think of. Yep, a little Paris Cafe. I guess I'll do the epilogue too. But this, actually, let me do that one first, and then I'll do the last piece I have after that one. And the last one is kind of how I feel about everything right now. Well,
Now, Milton, I want you to know we got about let's see, I think about 12 more minutes left. We can do epilogue with that, or both of them.
How dare you, Hunter?
I don't want to be the party pooper now.
I'll do these last two, and then I'll because that'll be it. This one is kind of like the finale from that whole set, where it kind of brings full circle. Remember I was talking about the composer, and he wrote the pieces because his son had died in his sleep. It's called Forever in Our Hearts. And it has a somewhat of a sentimental mood to it. Entirely different contrast from the very last one, though, that I will play. But I think you'll like this one too. And the significance of that particular piece, why it's a good one, when he was writing it, is it has, like, his son was 23 when he died, and the piece is exactly 23 measures long. I don't know if it was divinely inspired or something like that, but it was kind of a little creepy looking at that and noticing that was what it was. So again, I've really enjoyed doing this tonight because it gives me a chance to get back into performing and doing those types of things. Because I really do perform all throughout the year, especially when we're in school. And I know I've told this to people before, but you never really miss things until you can't do them anymore. Or I guess there are lots of different sayings you could include in that, but I mean, I've never been to a point where I've said, I've had moments when teaching where I'm just like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do this, but I've never had moments where I just said, I absolutely miss what I do. And if you performed regularly or even created works of art or written or whatever, and then you're not able to do it, it's almost like that part of you is gone. It's not there anymore. It's no more. So I think that by doing this and forcing myself to work up things and practice more like I should anyway, it really has helped me get over all of this not being able to perform. Because I, for one, and I've said this to some of my colleagues before, but I am one that will never again take for granted the fact that I can teach people to sing or music in general. I won't ever say, hey, you all, I don't feel like doing this today. Let's just do something else, because I've had all this time where I haven't been able to do it. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to share with you all, and for my chapter brothers and sisters pushing me to do this and suggesting that I do it. So thank you for that. Now this last one, you'll know what it is when you hear it. It really is how I feel about everything. Even in the midst of this pandemic, it really is how I feel about things. It won't last forever, but you'll understand it once you hear it. Thank you all.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
And Milton,
Yes.
I mean,
man, you got
Great.
magic fingers over here just playing your heart out, man. That was beautiful. Y'all,
Thank you.
I hope that everyone here has had a wonderful time. This has been a treat that, Milton over here playing his heart out, learning more about him, my LB. I hope everyone has had a great time. Oh man. For everyone here, not exactly sure if everyone is a brother or sister of our organization, but our organization is Gamma Xi Phi, and I want, if y'all are all interested in learning more about our organization, y'all can find it on gammaziphi.com. For all of our chapter, I don't know if I can't. There we go. Rashid already on the ball with dropping the links, but if you want to learn more about our organization, feel free to contact us. If you want to see more of our chapter, Iota Chapter, or any other chapter here who's represented, feel free to find us on Instagram. For us, it's GXP Iota. And wow, I just can't even get over Milton. You over here killing it, man. I just can't even blow my mind. But I want to say to everyone here, thank you for being here. Y'all, I hope y'all have a wonderful night, and I hope to see y'all on the our next event. Y'all have a wonderful time, and I hope that y'all have a great night.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Milton.
you.
Thank you,
yeah,
Hunter.
thank you, Milton.
Thank you, Milton. This was great.
Yes.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was amazing. Thank you so much for this gift that you gave us this evening.
Yes.
You're welcome.